Welcome to Planet Unknown. Today's exhibit is so large that astronauts have used it as a landmark from space. Yet if you stood at its very center, you would never realize you were inside it. This is the giant eye of the Sahara, one of Earth's most extraordinary geological mysteries. Stretching nearly 50 kilometers across one of the harshest deserts on Earth, its perfect rings seem almost impossible, as though some colossal force reached down from the sky and carved an eye directly into the planet. For decades, scientists struggled to explain it. Others didn't even try. They looked at its near-perfect circles and saw something else entirely: the ruins of a forgotten civilization, perhaps even the legendary Atlantis itself. But long before myths surrounded this place, before satellites captured its impossible shape, before humans had names for continents, this landscape was already writing its story. A story hidden not in books, but in stone. To understand the giant eye, we first have to understand the world that existed before the Sahara. Because this endless ocean of sand wasn't always a desert. Imagine standing here, not thousands but hundreds of millions of years ago. Forget the scorching sun. Forget the dunes stretching to every horizon. Instead, imagine waves, warm, shallow seas covering much of North Africa, coral reefs stretching farther than the eye could see, strange armored fish drifting through crystal clear water, giant marine predators hunting beneath the surface. The Sahara didn't exist, neither did the landscape we're looking at today. This part of the Earth lay beneath an ancient ocean for millions upon millions of years. Each generation of sea creatures lived, died, and settled onto the seafloor. Their shells became limestone. Their remains became layers of rock, year after year, century after century, until those layers measured thousands of meters thick. At the time, nothing about this place was remarkable. It was simply another quiet corner of an ancient ocean. But deep beneath the seabed, invisible forces had already begun to reshape the future. Far below the surface, molten rock was slowly rising through the Earth's crust. Not violently, not explosively, patiently, almost silently, the pressure grew over millions of years, pushing the overlying rock upward, bending it into an enormous dome that stretched for dozens of kilometers. If you had watched from space, assuming anyone could, you would have seen nothing dramatic. No eruption, no impact. Just an almost imperceptible swelling of the Earth's skin, taking place so slowly that an entire civilization could rise and fall without noticing a single movement. Nature doesn't always work through catastrophe. Sometimes, it works through patience. Then, everything changed, not because the Earth became more violent, but because it became relentless. Rain, wind, heat, cold, for tens of millions of years, they attacked the rising dome without pause. Layer after layer, the landscape was stripped away. Hard rocks resisted. Soft rocks disappeared. Again and again, until the Earth itself began carving circles, giant concentric rings unlike anything else on the planet. The eye wasn't built in a day, or even a million years. It was sculpted by time itself. And yet, no human would ever witness its creation. Because by the time our ancestors walked across Africa, the masterpiece had already been finished. Hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to finally see it. For thousands of years, the eye watched in silence. Empires rose beyond the horizon. Trade routes crossed the desert. Nomads passed within sight of its rocky ridges. Yet no one realized they were standing inside one of the largest geological formations on Earth. The irony is almost unbelievable. The Richat Structure was never hidden beneath the Earth. It wasn't buried by ice. It wasn't swallowed by the ocean. It was simply too large for the human mind to recognize. Sometimes, the greatest mysteries aren't concealed because they're small. They're concealed because they're unimaginably vast. Everything changed in the 20th century. For the first time in history, humanity looked back at its own planet from space. And there it was, a perfect set of concentric rings staring back from the endless Sahara. Astronauts were among the first people to truly appreciate what lay below. Surrounded by a seemingly endless sea of sand, the formation became an unmistakable landmark, a natural target so distinctive that crews aboard orbiting spacecraft used it to help identify their position over Northwest Africa. Almost overnight, a forgotten patch of desert became one of the most recognizable geological formations on the planet. But recognition didn't bring answers. It brought even bigger questions. How could nature create circles this precise? Why here? Why only one? And if it wasn't created by an asteroid, then what force possessed the patience to sculpt something so impossibly symmetrical? As photographs of the eye spread across the world, scientists weren't the only ones captivated. Historians, explorers, and amateur researchers all saw something different in its rings. Some believed they were looking at nothing more than extraordinary geology. Others believed they had found the final resting place of a civilization that had vanished from history. One ancient legend, repeated for more than 2,000 years, would soon become inseparable from this place. The legend of Atlantis. It sounds unbelievable today. A lost civilization, hidden beneath the sands of the Sahara. Yet for millions of people around the world, the resemblance was too striking to ignore. Ancient texts described a powerful kingdom built from concentric rings of land and water. The Richat structure appeared to share the same remarkable pattern. The similarities spread across books, documentaries, and eventually the internet, transforming a remote geological formation into one of Earth's greatest archaeological debates. Could this really be the place that inspired one of history's oldest legends? Or were human beings simply doing what they have always done, searching for familiar stories inside extraordinary landscapes? For a moment, it's easy to understand why the theory captured so many imaginations. From above, the eye almost seems designed rather than discovered. Its rings feel deliberate, its proportions almost architectural. Even the surrounding desert seems to frame it like a forgotten monument waiting to be recognized. But nature has a remarkable talent. It often creates patterns so perfect that they appear artificial. Hexagonal basalt columns, perfect snowflakes, honeycomb crystals buried beneath mountains. Again and again, the Earth reminds us that symmetry is not proof of intelligence. Sometimes, it is simply the language of physics written across deep time. To separate legend from reality, scientists had to stop looking at the shape of the eye and start reading the rocks themselves. Because unlike myths, stone doesn't exaggerate, it remembers.